just say this is EKG paper. My machine is set where, remember the old paper that was long?
The roll.
Like that, the roll? It would be coming out of the machine at about this rate right here, okay? I can reset it to come out at 50 where it would come out about like that fast. See what I'm saying? All right, I'll talk about that in a second on the board. So, it also has to be given the same amount of electrical energy. The recording stylus will move the same distance, thus giving uniform recordings worldwide. And what's the word stylus? First of all, you know, this stuff should be in your book. The arm of the EKG. And I don't know if this is in your book or not, but you should probably know it. The arm is called, just like an earthquake, or a radio, not a radio. Seismograph, or record player, when I was growing up. The old-fashioned record player. Okay, the arm is called the galvanometer. The heated tip is called the stylus. Please know it is heated. Therefore, I do not need paper or ink, special ink, and know that my paper is considered to be heat sensitive. So that's how it makes the recording into the paper. It is through a system of heat. I mentioned to this yesterday, the normal standard of deflection for standardization, it should go how high?
1.
It would be 2 boxes, big boxes, but how many little boxes?
10.
Very good. Remember I said to you, if it flares up and goes 20, 25 boxes high, then I am not set at my standard. My standard should be at 10 boxes. If it went up that really high, remember I told you I could reset my sensitivity button and reduce it to get it to where it's just going up those 10 boxes high. This is the international standard. So there's your next word. Standardization, highlight, is the means of verifying that each machine deflects, once again, at 10 millimeters in response to the sensitivity. You don't have to tell me 1 millivolt. You just have to tell me standardization is 10 millimeters high. It's usually, books should say 10 millimeters wide, but I won't, you know that. Turn the page. Older models are manual, meaning someone must tell the machine what to do. You can record from the arms and legs in a fairly rapid succession, but every time I change, I have to change it manually on my machine to lead 1, lead 2, lead 3, lead 4. I have to manually do it. New machines, you just push a button and it records record EKG, and the whole thing prints all 12 leads for you. Newer models of EKGs, next paragraph, are computerized. They are automatic features that you may only need to push one button. All 10 sensors are placed on the patient at the beginning of the procedure, and the computer switches from lead to lead in rapid succession. Before operating the machine, the MA will enter the data into the computer. So we were talking about that earlier. For now, the first few you do, you don't have to do that. I want you to be concerned with lead placement. And we'll talk about that tonight when we start doing them in there. Where the leads go and where they are placed on the chest. But after your first few, you can have it putting in patient data. And as you go along, you'll be putting in patient data. Did you want to tell me?
No, I came here. I float around and I checked before we do the thing. But if you want me to tell them, I will.
Go ahead.
They're really going to throw things at me.
I know.
You're supposed to tell them I'm not.
I know, or you can see out.
They'll get over it. Evidently, I was a little too liberal in my discretion for the attendance petitions. So we're getting clarification to see if I am allowed to be that liberal. So until then, attendance petitions have to be serious documented illness. For example, car wreck, and then jury duty, and what was the other one? Oh, call it active service. We do have a couple people that are like in the reserves and that, and they get it there. But because there were 69 of them, in that 5-week period, and 7 of them were legit by those standards, and like one of them said had a headache and went home. I'll get to you in just a second. Sort of the thing is like I wouldn't be able to go to Dr. Harmon and say, I know it's only 9:15, but I've got kind of a headache, I'm gonna go home. And I would have to take paid time off to do that. So it's kind of the same thing. It was starting to create a culture where students were not coming in because they didn't feel like it. Someone wrote down on one of them, don't like the person I sit next to. That's the reason for not being in class. So it is being researched to see exactly how far that discretion can go for ACICS accreditation. My feeling is that it's kind of okay because you're coming in and actually making up the time. This was a thing that was only being done for the medical lab when I took over as dean, and I said, this is a great idea, we'll do it everywhere, and I encouraged instructors to do it. Matter of fact, they got a weekly email from me saying if you have people missing in attendance, get them in here and get them making up their work. And the numbers that it raised that I thought were very substantial and worth the evil of doing it, so to speak, was completion went up and people's grades went up because they were actually getting in here and getting the work done and getting it turned in. So we're going to see if ACICS allows that much latitude or whether that was just a corporate policy, and if it's a